كويس. يقول لي تفضلوا. more than this. Yes. Education. ماشي. instead of transport كان بيكون كويس. الحكاية ممكن يترشم له. 2020.
Out of the fatalities are doctors.
Let us say tell you.
Doctors, 3. Can we? These are some of my.
Less we will not the fires, but rather is to stop the route.
I think it is almost established that we were in a.
Okay. Yeah.
You will recall yesterday His Excellency the President of the Republic, Salva Kiir Mayardit, issued a Republican order forming a high-level task force on coronavirus, COVID-19, under his chairmanship and membership of senior ministers, relevant institutions of the government, and deputized by His Excellency the first Vice President, who is also tasked with the day-to-day running of the activities of the high-level task force. And this afternoon, the high-level task force convened under the chairmanship of His Excellency Riek Machar, the first Vice President of the Republic, and Deputy Chairman of the task force. And the task force deliberated on a number of documents. One, the speech and the statement of the President on the coronavirus on the 16th of March 2020, and presentation of the Honorable Minister for Health on coronavirus to the Cabinet in its first extraordinary meeting on 18th March 2020. The task force also discussed the operational plan of the Ministry of Health and the budget. And also the Minister for Health this afternoon in the meeting made a presentation on the status of COVID-19 and recommendations in that regard. And the task force resolved the following. One, the task force endorsed the statement of the President and the directives given therein. Also, the communication from the office, from the Presidency, released yesterday by His Excellency Hussein Abdul Baghi on the suspension of teaching at schools and other social activities. On the restriction of movement of people, travelers from countries affected by COVID-19 are advised to stay where they are, but if they have to come to South Sudan, they will then go through the screening at the ports of entry, and then afterwards they will be taken to designated quarantine centers at their own cost. Meaning what? There will be designated accommodation sites where everybody arriving from those countries, after passing the screening at the airport, for example at Juba, they will then be ferried into those sites and they will bear the costs of staying in those accommodation facilities for 14 days before they engage in the public. The unified forces in the training camps are advised or have been instructed to remain where they are and avoid unnecessary movements, and must observe the infection protection procedures, meaning for example, they have to stay, if you are talking to someone or attending to someone, then you have to at least observe a 1 meter distance between you, and any unnecessary gathering must be avoided. The high-level task force also approved the operational plan for the 6 months starting from February to July 2020 on the prevention of COVID-19. and associated with it the budget to the tune of over 5.4 million US dollars. The task force has also resolved to coordinate with the neighboring countries on the management of the border points and crossing points between those countries. Of course, the procedures at arrival for all passengers all apply to any of the entry points, whether those are the river or the dry ports. The committee has resolved to meet weekly and any other extraordinary meeting as situation may dictate.